Everybody, welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. For the benefit of those who are not familiar with the channel or watching this channel for the first time, the reason why it is called Uncommon Sense, it's because we deal with everyday issues trying to seek logical solutions. But not everyone uses logic. So, for that reason, it is called Uncommon Sense. Right now, we're currently live on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope on Twitter. So, this is going to be a relatively short video, and the topic will be how to deal with disappointments. And the reason why we're dealing with this topic because we're going to be disappointed in one way or another. So what I did was I did prepare a Word document, which I'm just going to talk about certain factors. Before I go on, I just want to show my appreciation to all those who have followed me so far in my journey in YouTube land. I appreciate all those who have subscribed to the channel. I'm going to ask you to please like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification to all. So therefore, whenever I do go live or I do prepare something, you'll be notified and you'll have the opportunity of watching it live or watching on the playback. Also, after the live stream, all are welcome to enter their comments. All I ask is, people, please be polite and please be considerate. There's no need for any rude or vulgar comments. We're all adults, and the fact of the matter is, I do appreciate the fact that you have allowed me into your devices. You could have been watching anything else, but you chose to watch my stream. So I really do appreciate it very, very much. Now, what I'm going to try to do, excuse me, I'm going to see if I can share it. Just give me a moment. Okay. I'm going to try one more time. Okay. Just give me. Okay. Okay, here is the document in question. Okay. Okay. Now here, I don't know if you can see it. Unfortunately, I can't make it any bigger. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share with everybody certain points regarding why disappointments come. Let me make this perfectly clear. This is not going to be an extensive list. This is just some things to consider why we're faced with disappointments. The first reason why we could be disappointed in a result is due to the lack of preparation and lack of planning. Like, for example, if you wish to have like a festive event, like a party, well, what you need to do is you need to do all the preparation, which means order the catering. If you're going to rent a place, rent a place. If you're going to have guests, make sure that the guests are informed. You're also going to make sure that everyone is aware regarding the date, and the time of the function. Now, one thing I am a true believer is when you fail to plan, plan to fail. That's the first thing to consider. Another reason why they might have disappointments is last minute changes of circumstances. Now, this could happen to anybody, particularly if you have invited guests or you had invited contractor performers to come, and for some reason they don't come at the last minute because of some unforeseen event. That's another reason to be disappointed. Another factor why disappointments can occur is a lack of cooperation from others. The fact of the matter is, when you are engaged in a group function, you need other people to perform their roles. Like one person may be making sure that the food comes in. Another person could make sure that the place is clean and ready for the event. It could be making sure that all the preparations are there. Another area where people can be disappointed is unforeseen events. Now, what are unforeseen events? Someone gets hurt. Someone has to leave because of a family emergency. These are things that do occur. Another area where people can become disappointed is unfulfilled plans. Sometimes we have plans for something, but we do not follow them through because we're disappointed, because we're frustrated regarding a situation or other factors, and lost opportunities. Opportunities come and go on a regular basis. Sometimes we don't take advantage of those opportunities because of fear, because of rejection, fear of failure. Okay, and fear of failure that could cripple any plans. The fact of the matter is, when you are planning something, there's a possibility there's going to be a failure. But the worst thing that you can do is not try to go forward with your plans. Now, what are some responses to disappointment? Sadness is one. Sadness in the sense that what you have prepared something, it did not have the desired effect. Sometimes we can get angry, and we can get angry because what we hoped for to occur didn't occur for whatever reasoning or whatever rationale. And then we start to worry that if we plan other things, we'll be disappointed. Unfortunately, sometimes being disappointed can cripple your desire to go forward and plan other things. And another thing that people can do is overanalyze. They go over every situation, every scenario, and they start thinking in terms of, I should have done this, I should have done that. I should have done this at this time, I should have done that at that time. And we can overanalyze the situation. Now, I have been disappointed many times in my life. And of course, the natural reaction is to wonder why. There are times that I do know why, and there's times I do not know why. That's how life is. Now, how do we deal with disappointment? Actually, number one and number two, I'm going to combine it. What you do is you analyze the situation and you examine what happened. So, in other words, you take a look at the event. You take a look of the set of circumstances that happened, and then you try to rationally and logically um, go through the process and figure out where did you err, and be honest with yourself, but not be overcritical with yourself. But be honest and acknowledge the fact, okay, you planned something or you were hoping for something, it didn't happen, but now I'm going to take a look and I'm going to see where I erred. So, therefore, the next time I plan to do something, I will not repeat those same mistakes. It might be I might need to dedicate more time, or it might be a better more planning. Um, Another thing you can do is seek advice of someone that you trust, um, and share your disappointment. It could be a family member, it could be a loved one, it could be a friend, it could be a coworker. Um, if you belong to a house of worship, maybe the spiritual head of your place of worship. But what you're going to do is you are going to seek advice of someone who is able to look at the situation objectively and clearly to see what happened, where you're at, and what you need to do the next time in order to get a different result. Another thing that you can do is look at it as a learning experience. That could be hard at times, particularly if you had uh, a desired result, whether it be a promotion or whether it be that you're looking for a place to live, or whether it be you are pursuing a romantic relationship with someone and that person did not reciprocate in their feelings toward you. One way is to take a look, analyze yourself, and treat it as a learning experience. So therefore, you can look at things differently. You can approach things differently. Um, Number five is accept constructive criticism. Now, for some people, that could be very hard to do, but it's very important. And what do I mean by constructive criticism? In other words, A person who's looking from the outside, who you trust, can take a look at the facts as you present them and give their point of view or their advice. And they will be able to say, oh, you know what? This is where you err. This is what you need to do. And the final thing, and again, this is not the only factors. This is a sum. It's self-evaluate. And what do I mean by that? Take a look at yourself. Take a look what has happened. And you're going to analyze every aspect of the chain of events with the goal of learning from them and to be better prepared to deal with disappointments. Now, I understand that most people are going to be watching this stream in the playback, which is perfectly fine with me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to park it here. Excuse me. This is just some things, again, this is just some things to consider. It's not meant to be an extensive list, because to me, to make an extensive list, I will have to give you an hour to discuss it. But I just want to give everyone that's going to be watching it now or watching it on the playback things to consider. Now, on my own life, I have dealt with many disappointments. Disappointments as far as my love life, as far as people not reciprocating a romantic love towards me. I have also dealt with disappointments as far as how friends and close co-workers have reacted towards me. I've also been disappointed as far as how been my interaction with my family. Okay. And sometimes those disappointments can be very bitter because the consequences are very high. And sometimes they're going to hurt. That's the reality. Because as human beings, we feel pain, we feel rejection, we feel hurt, we feel betrayal. And sometimes one tendency is the withdrawal. I just want to say to all those who have experienced disappointment, it could be a bitter pill to swallow. But don't let disappointment ruin your life to the extent that you are afraid to try, that you are afraid to do new things, that you become afraid of new endeavors. And I'm not going to lie, sometimes disappointments hurt. And I can say that in my nearly 16 years of life, I've gone through a lot of disappointments, but particularly now. But what helps me is knowing There are people who do care about me. I have people who love me, and God loves me. And that gives me a lot of courage, and especially in the light of the fact that two people that I have loved and care for has distanced themselves from me. And you know what? That's life. The main thing is to be mindful who you are, and each one of us have high value. That being said, I'm going to ask you to, please subscribe, like, hit the bell notification on. So therefore, whenever I do prepare material, you will be notified. Now, I'm going to do something very unusual for me. I'm going to do another short video tomorrow night. And the topic will be Elon Musk and his purchase of Twitter. Now, the reason why I'm going to be covering this, because there is believe it or not, there's been a lot of noise in regards to his purchase. There's been people who have been fearful of what was going to become of Twitter. There's certain people that want to restrict other people's voice and what other people say and what other opinions. Because there are some opinions, there are some voices that are not popular, and people would like to silence them. Now, there is a solution to all that. You don't have to listen to them. Okay? You don't have to watch that particular program. You don't have to follow this particular person. You don't have to subscribe to a particular channel. Okay? But the call for censorship, just because they're saying something that you disagree with, that's not a good thing. So we're going to be talking about that briefly tomorrow night. Also, I'm going to be going live this Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. And the topic will be how to deal with grief. It just so happens that we're going to have Tim Delgado again come, and he's going to give us a clinical assessment when it comes to grief. Because the fact of the matter is, we all got to deal with grief at some time or another. We're all going to deal with the loss of a loved one or a friend, or the separation of a loved one or a friend, for many reasons. So we're going to have a discussion on the subject. So that being said, I just want to thank everyone who has watched it live. I know not too many people watched it live, but it's okay. I also thank those who are going to watch it on the playback. So that being said, I'm going to close the same way that I always close. People, do not let the errors of the past damage your future. And we must do everything possible to minimize our contact with the mentally and intellectually challenged. Because if we fail to do so, we will be infected by their stupidity and massive insanity. And that is even more of a serious sickness than any physical or mental disease. So that being said, This has been another episode, albeit a short episode, of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. I thank you, and I do hope that these words give you encouragement. Take care, good night, and peace out.
Be strong. Be strong.